Go for it.
Hi, everyone, and thanks for joining us for our second class in an ongoing weekly series featuring our Blue Moon Studio UV resin craft, products for jewelry making. Today, we will be showing you how to use molds to make your jewelry pieces. We're thrilled to have this opportunity to introduce you to how you can make beautiful jewelry pieces using UV resin, along with showing you the wide variety of bezels, molds, tints, fillers, and tools, all available at Michaels stores nationwide or on the Michaels website. Stephanie Menor, Blue Moon's design director, will be your instructor today, and she is so excited to share today's projects with you. And behind the scenes is our indispensable Rosa Vergara, who, although she's off camera, is busy assisting Stephanie with supplies, made-ups, and seamless transitions from one project to the next. I'm Anne-Marie Menlo, and will be answering your questions via the chat function. We hope you can craft along with us, but if not today, sit back, watch, and enjoy, and consider picking up what you'll need for next week's class. All details and the supply list are on the Michaels website, so you can sign up and, should you choose, craft along. This new jewelry making trend is so fun and inspiring, fast with instant gratification results, and easy to do. Not to mention how much you will love your beautiful, unique, and one-of-a-kind creations. So Stephanie, take it away.
Thank you, Anne-Marie. Hi, everyone. We are here today to talk about UV resin. And this is so exciting because this is an entirely new way of crafting jewelry. It's a brand new material. You may have used some resins in the past, but this is new. This is a bottle of it right here. Let me see how close I can get it. And the difference between this resin and AB resins, two-part resins, is this pours out of the bottle ready to use. This is a clear goo that you pour into a mold or a bezel, and you harden it with a UV light or sunlight. We're going to talk about sunlight a little more in a minute, but that is the big difference between this and AB resins, is it cures in light and it cures like magic almost instantly. It's so cool. I can't wait to show you. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to show you a few demos. I'm going to get you down a little closer. Then we're going to switch cameras so you can get really close on the action. We're going to make a few jewelry pieces. Hopefully you'll craft along with us. So let me move this down so you can see what I have here. Try to get this in the shot. Okay, here we go. So as I said, this is the UV resin. It's sold in a couple different sizes at Michaels. The cap just pops off and you have this sort of applicator top to it. I want to show you how this works on different materials. So as I said, this is the resin. This is a silicone mat, also sold at Michaels. One side of the mat is shiny and one side is matte. This is a little pile of glitter we put here, and this is a printed paper. I printed a picture of my son there on a regular office printer. This is a UV lamp, and I'm going to turn it on by pushing the button, and you can see this is an LED lamp. When I hit the button once, it turns on for a minute. I can toggle it on and off, and then I have some wood sticks here. Okay, so let me show you how this works. So we're just going to put a little drop on these different surfaces to see what it is. So you can see it pours out like a clear liquid. I'm going to put a little dot over here on this printed out paper. And then I bring my UV lamp to it. I'm going to turn it on, kind of place it over here. I don't want to, let's see, there we go. So like I said, one push of the button is 1 minute. If you have a thin layer of resin, it's going to cure to a hard plastic finish in just 1 minute, like magic. And our full curing times is about 2 to 4 minutes, especially for molded pieces that might be a little thicker. You may need to run it through a few times. So this has been on for about I don't know, 15, 20 seconds. I want to show you how fast this works. Let me just turn that off and move that to the side. Now this a second ago was goo. And now you can see, you can hear me tapping on it. That is hard plastic, hard plastic, hard plastic over here. So I am going to cure it for a few more minutes, a few more seconds here. So as I said, 2 to 4 minutes, cure time under the lamp. You can also cure this in sunlight, which is really cool because if it's a sunny day, if you live in a sunny area like I do, I'm in California, you can put this outside and just nothing compares to the pure UV that you get from the sun. And we're seeing cure times in the summer sun that we have right now of 2 to 3 minutes in sunlight. But if it's slightly cloudy, depending on the weather in your area, you may take up to 10 minutes to cure it completely outside. Okay, so this is done. I just want to show you that this is now, it does not stick to silicone. That will be very important as we show you the silicone mold. So you can see this is like a hard plastic disc. The part that we put on glitter, you can see the glitter sticks to it. And then the part that we put on paper, this is stuck permanently to the paper. And it creates like a little bubble of shiny, raised shininess there. This will bond permanently to porous and non-porous surfaces. So paper, wood, metal, glass, plastic, it will bond to all of those surfaces. So it really opens up crafting possibilities. The thing that's important to remember is this cures only under UV light. So this, when you pour it out onto a surface or into a mold, it will stay liquid until you introduce UV light to it. And so to demonstrate that, I have a wood stick and I'm just gonna put a little dot of resin on it. And I want to reinforce the fact that this is not curing in the air, this is curing under UV light. So I'm gonna put it in this glass of water and shine some UV light on it. And so you'll see that in an airless environment underwater, it still turns to hard plastic. So this brings up an important reminder for your workspace. Make sure you're not crafting near a window, no direct sunlight, because it will start curing even as you're working with it and crafting. And you want to take your time to make sure you're getting all of your elements placed where you want them to go before you put it under the lamp, because it will just kind of lock it in place. All right, so that's been in there about, I don't know, 20 seconds, 25 seconds. Let's see how it is. So you can see that this is no longer gooey. It is hard plastic on there, and how fast that happened. Okay, so now that I showed you what it is, I want to show you what we can do with it. So whether you are a jewelry crafter or this is your very first time ever watching a video about jewelry crafting, there's something in this video for you. We hope you can walk away and make some beautiful jewelry pieces. So let's go ahead and switch to camera 2. Okay. Can you guys hear me over here?
Yes, you're good.
Okay, can you hear me now? Yes, we're good?
Yep.
Okay, technical. All right, so this is a shot of the jewelry that we are going to make together. We're going to show you how to make these pieces and then show you a ton of other jewelry options that you can use to customize this. So as you can see, we've used a lot of glitter. There's glitter, sort of confetti. There are these glitter flakes. This is a great substrate for kind of enveloping anything inside the resin, from dried flowers to small plastic pieces. You can do a mold within a mold. We're going to show you a lot of these techniques. All right, so let me clear this. We're going to jump right into our first project, which are these rings. So these rings are made with this mold. So this mold sold at Michael's. This makes ring sizes 4 through 9. So you can have multiple sizes for multiple fingers. Size 4 is very small. This is more like a child size or a pinky ring size, all the way up through size 9. Before I show you how this works, I want to talk a little bit about what this is made of. This is made of a high quality silicone. I'm actually going to zoom you up just a little bit here. This is made of a high quality clear silicone. You will see other molds out there in the marketplace that might look something like this. And when I hold them side by side, you're going to see right away, this is a more opaque. This is a lot more translucent. That is very important when dealing with UV resin because you want to make sure that those UV rays can hit all the little bits and pieces inside the mold. The other thing I want to show you is a cheaper silicone mold will be very floppy like this instead of rigid. And that can be a problem for making these as well because in jewelry making, you're making very small, finely detailed things. And so you need the rigidity of a high quality silicone mold. So I just wanted to show you that. I also want to show you other molds. So this is a type of mold that you might find in craft stores for making candy or even soap making molds. You do not want to use an opaque mold like this for UV resin craft. It just does not allow the light to penetrate and it just cures funky. So we highly suggest a clear, translucent, high quality silicone mold for this material. Okay, sorry, let me just get this in frame here. All right, so here's our mold. Let me set that to the side for just a minute. We're gonna start with, this is a silicone mixing cup. This is sold in a little mixing tool kit that we sell. I will show you what to do here. So first we're going to just pour some resin, again, straight out of the bottle. And I'm going to add glitter. Here is some gold glitter. Part of our UV resin collection at Michael's has a million different things that you can mix in here. These are just, this is our mega filler kit. So you can see we've got different colors of glitter, confetti, flakes. These are little polymer clay slices of fruits and flowers. We've got dried flowers. We've got these sort of metal, tiny, tiny metal pieces and pearls in there. And this is just one of the SKUs that that has great fillers for these. But for this first project, we just wanted to use a classic gold glitter here. So we're gonna pour some in. How much do you pour in? Well, depends on how much you like glitter. I like glitter a lot, so we're gonna put a big old pile in there. I don't think that you can have too much glitter. And then here we have just a wood stick. It has kind of a wedge end to it and then a pointy end to it. And I just stir that up. Also, besides glitter, you can also add tints to this, so you can tint it any color that you want. All right, so that's all stirred up. I also keep to the side of my workspace a wet paper towel or a baby wipe or something, and that's just so I can kind of wipe that off and keep my stick clean as I go. All right, let's bring this down here. Now, to make a ring of this size, you can see that it is not very wide. That means we have to get this resin down into that mold, and the process may look a little messy at first, but have faith with me, it will all come together. I am going to start pouring this into the mold, and I just very carefully, I'm going to pour it around the side. All right. And now I need to work this into the mold. And I do that by kind of just pressing that in there. I can kind of put my wood stick in and move the mold. See, I'm kind of like moving it to the side and allowing, I'm going to get this even closer down in here. Let's see. I'm kind of moving that center of the mold aside and letting the resin just have a spot to flow into the mold itself. And then I can kind of scrape. And just get that in there. This does require a little bit of patience. You know, if you're making a molded piece that is this thin, you need to have a little bit of patience to get this resin in there. I'm gonna add a little more. And again, just keep working it in. And my favorite way is just kind of pressing this in the middle, and that helps by getting rid of any air bubbles or air pockets that may be stuck in there. And I know you're saying, Stephanie, you're making a mess. It's okay. Don't worry, we'll get there. And you do want to fill it all the way to the top. I can see an area over here where I need to add a little more resin there. Okay, the other thing that you want to do, because this is so clear, you can pick it up and look underneath it. So I'm going to take this out of frame for just a second so I can look underneath, and you can just visually see if you have any air bubbles. Now I can see one right here. I'm going to try to turn this so that you can see it too. Can you see right here an air bubble right there? I'm just going to work a little more resin into it. And again, filling up to the very top. Don't worry about the mess. We're going to clean that up in a minute. Okay, so I'm going to say that that's done. Now, what I want to do is take a wet paper towel or a baby wipe and just with no pressure at all, run it over the top of that. Okay, I can even run it one more time. And that kind of evens out the top of it. Don't worry that I have all this extra resin. I'm going to show you how to kind of clean that up. But this is ready to be cured. So I'm going to bring my UV lamp over here, try to situate it so you can see it happening as it happens, and turn it on. So cure times, as I said, for any kind of 3D piece is 2 to 4 minutes. For anything thinner, it may cure within just 1 minute, but you want to let it go the full cure time for anything that's kind of 3D like this one is. So I'm going to let that go. I'm going to bring this up just a little bit. Okay. And show you a piece that's already cured. I don't want you to wait for 2 to 4 minutes. Here we go. By magic, we have a piece that's already cured. Now the most satisfying part of this whole craft, let me turn it over so you can see the bottom. The most satisfying part of this whole craft is demolding it. So this is silicone, it's flexible, these things pop right out. And this is hard plastic. So this is what just popped out of that mold. I'm gonna turn it around so you can see all sides of it. Hopefully this is in focus. And so this ran for 1 minute. I'm gonna go ahead and put it in for another minute. All right, try to put that a little more under there. So you may find that when this comes out of the mold, you might have a little bit of like burrs on the side here, a little bit of unevenness. So there's a couple things you can do. First of all, if it's really thin, sometimes I just take my thumbnail and just kind of run it alongside there in case any of the little glitter pieces might be standing on end. Because you want this comfortable when it goes on your finger, you know? So that's one way I can get rid of it. The other way, if you have more texture there, is you can take a nail file. We've got a really fancy nail file here, guys. But you want to, if you're gonna file resin, you do wanna work with it wet. So here I would dip my nail file in water and just kind of do this to it a few times just to kind of get that texture off. If that still bothers you, you can have a very fine sandpaper. All right, I'm gonna run this through one more time. A very fine sandpaper on your work surface that's wet, and you would just set it down and work it across the sandpaper like this. But I find that you don't really need to do all of that. If you follow the technique of kind of wiping the mold first, you shouldn't have a lot of texture on it. But that is the ring. So while this is finished curing, I want to show you what else you can do with this ring mold. So here's an example where we use dried flowers inside there instead of glitter, okay? And then here's an example of, instead of glitter, we took a piece of silver cord. This was, I think this came off of a gift package or something. It's just silver cord. So we situated it down inside the mold, poured a bunch of resin, clear resin in, and it preserves that inside there. All right, so now this is gone. Oh, I think that was the third time. I don't know if anyone's keeping track, but that might have been the third time. So I want to show you here the demolding. So you can see that this happens in real time. And see this? I want you to see that little like burr. I don't know what you call this, a little sticky outy part. Let's call it that. I can just kind of peel that off. Again, go in with my thumbnail or go in with a nail file and just knock it off. You know, you don't want to, you want to knock it off a little bit, but do work with it wet if you're sanding. And that's because you just don't want to be breathing in plastic particles. And the wet sanding can help with that. Okay, so those are rings. Make them any color. Like I said, add tints. And that's our first project. All right, so let me get these out of the way. Thank you. Shout out to Rosa Vergara behind the scenes. Thank you. This is the second project we're going to make. This is a pendant necklace. All right, so this mold looks like this. Okay, it's got a little like place for you to hold it, which comes in very, very handy. When you buy this in stores, this is what you're looking for. This is our UV Resin Craft brand in the blue package. So inside here, you get the mold, and you also get these custom top pieces. These are custom made to fit onto the shape. And so I'm going to show you how that works, but you get all of it in one package. And then you can just kind of add your necklace of choice. This particular necklace, also bought at Michael's. It comes already made with a clasp on it, so you don't have to deal with that part. So let me show you how this one is made. So notice that this is more of like an ombre glitter. So the glitter's super concentrated down here at the bottom and then goes up to clear. I like this look. All right, let's move that out of the way. Here's our mold. And here's our cup. So let's mix up some glitter. Now I'm not gonna mix up too much because I'm going to fill the rest of the clear glitter in there straight from the bottle. Here's the glitter we're using. These are beautiful glitters. Look at these. This is the one we're using. We also have this black kind of like galaxy glitter. We have these little stars, and it's all in these plastic containers, which makes it so easy to use. You just unscrew the top and dump. Oops, too much glitter. Oh well. Never too much. Okay, let's mix that up. And turn this way. Can you guys see okay? Do you want me to be closer? Here we go. All right, now keep in mind how this is situated in there. You can see if you look at the mold from the side and you look at our molded piece, that it's situated in there like this, okay? So I want to concentrate my glitter down here at the bottom. So let me just start pouring that in. And then I'm going to just turn it so that just gravity just feeds it down there. And very important with any 3D mold, you do want to kind of poke at the edges. If you're going to get an air bubble, it'll be like down here in these edges. So I put my wood stick, I just kind of poke to make sure that I'm popping any air pockets that are in there. And then I'm going to take this straight out of the bottle. And because I want the clear area to be here, I'm just going to start pouring. And this will create this ombre effect where, see, it's like kind of pushing that down. Again, I want to fill it to the top. And then go in with my wood stick and just place that glitter exactly. This has a little shine on it, huh? There, you can see it better that way. I want to place that glitter, move it around to exactly how I want it. So I can get like a really good gradient from very concentrated glitter to clear. All right, so that's about where I want it to go. We're ready to cure it. All right, so let's let that do its thing. And I'm going to show you a piece that is already done. So here we are in 2 to 3 minutes from now. It will look like this. And let's pop this out of the mold. There we go. So you can see it retains the facets very, very well. That's from using a high quality silicone. And let me show you how to work with these pieces. Here's the little metal tops. So in order to work with those, I'm going to pause this curing for just a minute because I have to put a dot of resin here, and that will harden my resin before I want it to. So a little dot of resin, I'm going to pick up the finding. I'm going to show you from this angle. Let me show you, is this it? Yes, okay, sorry. You can see, I had to look at that for a minute. You can see from this angle that it's an odd, irregular shape, but this metal piece is also, and it's made perfectly to fit. So I'm just gonna dip this into this resin. And I just slide it on and it fits like a puzzle piece. And guess how I'm gonna cure that? Under here. All right, so let's let that go. This is what the final piece will look like right here. All right, so while we're letting this cure, I want to talk a little bit about safety. We talked about your workspace, not in direct sunlight, not close to a window. The reason for that is, take a look at this little pile of resin that I put here. It's a few inches from the light, but this will cure. So make sure any unmixed resin or open resin has the cap on. You don't want that to cure before you want it to. The other safety thing I want to note is working with gloves. So I do not wear gloves. I have never had a problem with this resin, but if you have a sensitivity to resin or just sensitive skin, go ahead and wear gloves with this. Work in a well-ventilated area. This is not like a children's toy. You know, you're dealing with some chemicals things here. So, you know, just read all of the safety precautions in our packaging, please, before starting. I'm gonna let that go 1 more minute. And while this is going, well, this one is actually already done. It just had that little bit to cure on there. So this is permanent. I'm tugging. I am tugging on this. That is not going to go anywhere. And that is the amazing properties of UV resin, because there's not a lot of glues very heavy duty glues to glue plastic to metal. It's one of the most difficult 2 materials to glue together. And so this is really on there. To finish this up, I just put my necklace chain through and I have a completed custom necklace. So while that's finishing the cure, I want to show you, we have other shapes. So we have, this is the shape we just did. We've got a little bit bigger here. And those shapes come in this package. So this actually has 3 different kind of nuggety shaped molds. Let me turn that on again. And then the custom metal pieces that go with it. So let me show you what that looks like. Here. So here's some other, this is the larger mold. Let's demold that for you. This one has some flowers, some metal pieces, and some pearls in it. And then I don't have that. Okay, so that's that. And then this is a two-part. This has two nuggety shapes in it. And let's demold that too. So here's this one. Use a little bit of blue tint and some flakes in there. And then this one has some dried flowers stuck in there. So this is probably done, but while we're talking, I'll just put it in there again. So again, if I wanted to attach this to the top, this is custom made to fit on there, and it goes on just like a puzzle piece. Okay. All right, let's cut this one short. Let's demold this one so you can see how this happened in real time. Here is our piece. And now I want to show you, because I always like to show you if there is some little problem here. Down here on this end, I don't know if you can see it, but you can see that there were two little air pockets right here. Do you see that? And that is because I kind of rushed this and I didn't put my wood stick in there and just make sure the resin had gotten into all the little areas of that mold. So that's what can happen. This is not a deal breaker. The way I would fix this is I would go in with my liquid resin. I would just take a little bit of it, pop that right into those holes, and just hold it under the lamp for another minute or so. So it's not a deal breaker, but I just wanted to show you that that can happen if you try to hurry through it. All right. So next, hopefully we do have some folks that are crafting along. If you are crafting along, let us know in the chat. We would love to see what you're making. This next project is going to be hoop earrings. Here's our hoop earrings. I'll get that out of the way. Let's just leave that there. It's there to stay. Okay, here's our hoop earrings. So hoop earrings are hot right now. Lucite jewelry is coming back in, and this is how you can make custom hoop earrings. Let me show you the mold that this comes out of. Here's our mold. And then I'm going to show you what it looks like in the store. So this is our mold for hoop earrings. So there are 3 different earrings you can make from this mold. A small hoop, which is about 1.25 inches, a large hoop, which is just shy of 2 inches, and then you get the findings that you need. These findings, this is how you add the metal part that goes through your ear. I'm going to show you how that works. All right, move this to the side. Here we have our mold. And this one I'm going to do a little bit differently. Instead of pre-mixing my resin in a cup, I'm just going to pour it directly into the mold. This one's a lot easier to work with than like the ring mold that we started with, just because the opening is a little larger. So I'm going to fill that almost to the top. And these are the flakes that we're using. Let me pour some out so you can see what they are. This is crooked. Oh my gosh, my OCD. Let me make this straight. Okay. All right. Let's show you what this is. See, these are like irregular gold flakes. How cool are those? They come in all different metallic colors. Here you go. You've got copper. You've got 2 different tones of gold and silver. So the way I like to work with this is, well, I'm going to dip my wood stick. Here's my wood stick. I'm going to dip this into the resin. And this is just so I can have a tacky surface on my stick in order to pick up some of this. So I just kind of pick up a bunch and decide what side you want here's our finished piece. So this is another little ombre number with all of these flakes more concentrated on one side. So I just want to put those flakes in there. and go pick up more. For me, it's easier to do it this way instead of pre-mixing, so you can really control where these flakes are. And put as many or as little as you want. And they all have to just get down in there, into the pool. So press them down. These will stay at the level you put them in. Also, unlike AV resins, where a lot of your fillers can kind of fall to the bottom, this will stay where you put it. Let's get more, put that over here. And I want to, again, have a nice little gradient. And here's where you can put like a single piece in there at a time to really get the exact placement that you want. Okay. So here we go. I think we're going to be ready to cure this. You can do both at a time. I'm just going to do one earring instead of doing both, since we already have some made here. The other thing I want to point out before I cure this are these little indentations here. These are for making stud earrings. So here's a little mini stud. It's a stud earring. It's a little dome, and it uses that same earring back. I'm going to show you how to do that. So this is ready to cure. Let's go ahead and put that underneath there, let that cure. And while that's working, we have one here. So here we go. This is cured. Let's demold it. And again, if there are any rough edges, this is actually perfectly smooth. No rough edges at all on this one. You can scrape it, a little bit of a nail file action on it. But let's show you how to turn it into an earring. Let me move this up. Move this here. So here's our little earring pieces that come in the mold. It has an earring back, the post, and a flat pad there. And again, we're going to take a little dot of resin. Let me pause this. I'm just going to put the dot right here. Doesn't matter where I put it because I'm just going to be able to flake that off. And I take, now I'm going to bring you really in on this because this is a tiny little piece here. And I'm going to take the flat pad part of it and just dip it in there. Oops, turn it around. And then I can put it on this side of the earring so that the clear part is closest to my ear, or I can put it on this side of the earring so the earring will look like this. Either way you want. I'm going to put mine on the clear side so you can see it a little bit better. Now here's where you have to kind of have a steady hand, work quickly. So I'm going to place this where I want it to go. All right, and then I just cure it right in place. Ooh. Sorry, I had to adjust that a little bit because that, once the light hits it, it grabs. This is already, like I can't move it, okay? Just from a few seconds. So just to tack it in place for a few seconds, I'm gonna turn that off and I'm gonna go in with a little more clear resin. Oh, now this is hard. I can't dip into that pile anymore. I need a new dot. And just to reinforce it, I'm gonna just add kind of another layer on top of there. Let's cure it. Can you make beads with this? You absolutely can. I'm going to show you our bead mold. And it is another silicone mold. It makes 2 different sizes of rondelle beads, which is kind of like a flat round shape. I'm going to show you here. Let me just set this down and bring this back up so I can show you. Here's our bead mold. So you can make a bunch of beads at once. We did this because when you're making beads, you need a bunch of them to make a bracelet. So you can make them all at the same time, 2 different sizes. The other cool thing, I want you to always look at the back of our package because it shows you exactly what each mold makes. So this makes, you can see the shape. It makes a 7 mm and a 9 mm rondelle, sorry. Also, we had a question about monograms, adding alphabets. We do have an alphabet mold here. So you can create your letter. I actually have one here. I made an S. This is an example of what that mold makes. So you can imagine getting really creative and using 2 molds for a piece. I could put an S on here. Well, there we go. I can put an S anywhere I want this to go. All right, so that is our alphabet. Okay, so I'm gonna let that go a couple more minutes and show you, this is the large size, so you can see we're next to each other. Large and small size that comes out of this mold, and here's the stud that comes out of the mold, all right? Other options, here is a hoop earring with flowers. These are tiny, tiny little lace flowers that we've cut apart. And here's another. This is the larger earring made with flowers. Here we got really fancy and used different glitters inside the mold to create almost like a striped effect. We didn't put the finding on this one yet, but you can see how it comes out of the mold. All right, so I think this is done. Let's pop this one out. The other thing I want to mention is what is actually happening when I put this light on it is a chemical reaction is occurring. And through that chemical reaction, some heat is released. The heat is not coming from the lamp. Here, let me turn that on. These are LEDs. These are not hot to the touch. The lamp doesn't heat up. It's the chemical reaction of the resin that can heat it up a little bit. So especially when you're working with metal pieces that are curing, it might get a little hot. Just use caution when handling them. And then, sorry, one step I forgot, which was I need to fill this up to the top. So fill it up to the top, and then I like to kind of use my stick, go around the edges. Because this liquid is so thick, it can, I don't know, kind of pucker all around the edges when it's in liquid form. So you just want to make sure there's no puckering. And then here's our final cure on it. These findings are sold separately at Michael's. They may have a little bit wider of a pad on them, but they are sold separately, yes. All right, so we're gonna switch gears to our final project. Hopefully we had some of you crafting along with us. If you are crafting along with us, I'd love to see your creations. You want to, on your socials, use hashtag UVResinCraft. Oh, that's very, there we go. Can you see? There we go. Hashtag UVResinCraft. I check that hashtag. I would love to see what you're making and comment on it, like it. We love to see all of the crafty, creative people out there.
People didn't see the whole folder without the line. There.
Okay. This, and this, and this.
They want to see it clear because with the light.
It's too hard to see with the light?
Yes.
Okay. Let's put it on white. Zoom you down in. Here's the flowers. Here's our other flower earring. Can you see those a little better now? Let me get it in there. There we go. That's what we just made. I want to show you a couple other options. Here's one we did with just chunky silver glitter. You can embed different things down inside the resin, like letters. So here's one, this is another mold, but we've taken some letter beads and put them down inside the mold. We have one here where we have put the word love inside there just with clear. So you can see, you can do your name in there. How cute is this? These beads are sold also at Michael's. Okay. All right, how are we doing on time? Oh, we're close. Okay, so let me kind of clear this area. We have one more project to show you, and I'm probably not going to be able to get through the whole thing, but I want to at least show you how it's done. So these earrings, this is what we're making. This is like a confetti earring. It's got two parts to it. See, and then they're connected with a jump ring. It's a stud earring. Very cute. These come from this mold. This mold is, oops, let me move that. This is an exclusive mold to Michael's. You will not find this anywhere else on earth but Michael's stores. And this is perfect for making all different kinds of earrings. So what we did was we used a light pink resin. It has a little bit of glitter in it, and we just filled up all of these pieces. I'm going to demold them, and I want to show you how fun it is to kind of play with all of these shapes. Move this to the side. We demold all of these pieces. All right, so this is what that mold made. And then you get to play fun mix and match with it. So I can have an earring that has that is kind of like this. All right. Or I can use this as the top and then hang a little heart from it, or the small donut shape. If I wanted to do a larger donut shape earring, this is the shape that we did with this earring with our teardrop. But the cool thing about this teardrop is it can be a teardrop, or turn it around this way and use it like this. Okay, so you can see how many combinations there are here to make really cool earrings. Here, I can use this here, and I'm going to show you some examples of what we made from this mold. So this heart shape, there it is, this heart shape. On this earring, we just connected 3 of the heart shapes with jump rings. So you can see how that is. Let's see, we've done, here's that long bar. We've used glitter and then put a little metal piece on top of it. All right, so while we still have time, I want to just show you how to make this earring. So we are going to add a little bit of resin to the teardrop shape. And I want to spread that out to get a good bottom kind of base to it. And then the confetti is right here. This came out of our mega filler kit. And just gonna put that right in there. And a whole bunch of it, because I want it to be opaque. And then I can take my time and just place this glitter exactly where I want it to go. And I'm kind of pushing it into the resin a little bit. Again, we don't want to have any air pockets that are stuck underneath this. Let me turn it around. All right, so that's looking pretty good. Again, I want to lift my mold up, look underneath it, just to make sure I don't have any naked spots where there are no confetti pieces. And then before I pour the resin to the top, I'm going to kind of lock that in place. All right, so I just want to lock that in place because if I were to pour more resin on top of this now while it's still liquid, it would disperse all of that confetti that I've just carefully placed. I don't want that to happen. So I want to kind of lock that in place. Then I'm going to add another layer of clear. All right, so that went just for a few seconds there. I'm going to add a clear layer here. Be careful around the top there. Just make sure that that is all the way around the top, all the way around the edges, and this is our final cure. One part that I didn't show you was just, here it is, let me bring this up. This. So here's a piece that's already cured, and then here we just use gold glitter like we did for that very first ring inside here. So this pops out, how pretty that is. This pops out. And while that's curing, I'm going to turn this into an earring. So we have our two pieces. We need to connect those two pieces with a jump ring. This is a jump ring. And I just slide this on. Sorry, I went out of frame there. Just slide that on, slide this one on to connect them together. And then I'm going to use a pair of pliers here on one side and on the other side to close the jump ring. So here's our earring. The last thing I have to do is attach the post to the back of the gold piece. And again, it's the same as what we did for the hoop earring. Just a tiny little dab of resin and put it on there. Get it situated exactly where I want it. Cure it in place. So we can see in just a few seconds it already grabbed. And I'm just turning this around to make sure that light is hitting kind of all parts of it. Yes, we are having more resin classes, and this is class 2 of 4. And so every Wednesday at the same time, we are going to be bringing you cool new projects. So far, this has been more of an intro class. Next week, we have, it's still kind of a beginner project, but it's a little more involved. And so we're only going to be doing 2 kind of longer projects. That is, that class is up on the Michaels website right now for you to sign up for next Wednesday. And the supply list is there for everything you'll need if you want to craft along with us. Hopefully we've inspired you to show you how easy this craft is and inspired you to try it. So I'm just curing that in place for a few seconds. I mean, I do want this to go for a full minute. Let me just kind of set that down and let that go. There we go. So you can see our finished earring here. Now, while I have you, I want to show you a couple other things. We also have bangle molds. This is a bangle bracelet, customized, clear. What else do we have here? I want to show you this. This is a molded piece. We put these flowers inside the mold with clear resin. Then we popped it out, flipped it over, and we just took some nail polish and just, you can use paint, just paint on the back of it in a very kind of abstract way, but look how cool that looks from the front. Isn't that cool? Here in this piece, we embedded rhinestones in it, in this kind of random pattern. Let's see what else I have to show you. Oh, here's one of our beads. Whoever asked about the bead. This is what the bead looks like when it comes out of the mold. This is the smaller size bead. All right. Thank you guys. I hope that you will join us next week as we delve in further for all of the more wonderful things you can do. I want to show you the project that we're going to make next week. Oh, sorry, don't have it. Sorry. Oh, I have it. It's right here. We're going to make, this is a little brooch with a pearl border. See, it's a pin. You can cure that pin back right onto it. So we're going to make that pin. We're also going to make this pin. This got a little bit tangled, but it's one of those two-part kind of cardigan clips. So it's a galaxy theme next week. Please join us. We love when you craft along with us. Again, hashtag your creations UV resin craft. Here, I'll show you our package again. UV resin craft. I would love to see what you're making. Also use the hashtag make it with Michaels. And that is what you use for anything you create with your products bought at Michaels. We hope that you'll go into stores, go online. Michaels has wonderful online ordering, curbside pickup, and try this out. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Stephanie. This was great. It was so nice to have everybody on today. So join us next week. Can't wait.
I'm trying to look at the chat. Questions are coming in pretty fast, but thank you. How do you clean the mixing bowl? That I can answer in the 1 minute that I have left. So our mixing bowl, I don't have one here, but the easiest way to clean molds or mixing bowls, here's one, is just cure. Just cure the resin in there. You cure it and then you can just pop it out. You could go in with a baby wipe and kind of deal with the goo. I don't like dealing with that. I just cure it and then I pop it, like literally pop it out. And that's the easiest way to clean these molds, your mold care. You just want to clean it with soap and water. You want to make sure you get any little bits of glitter out of there for your next project. So cleanup is very easy. I have not attempted to put ashes in resin, but I have seen that done online. Thank you for your question, Jane. Is the resin water soluble? Yes, you can clean up with a sponge and cloth. I just use a baby wipe to clean up afterwards. Thank you, guys. Is it food safe? No, this is not food safe. So you don't want to be making, you know, little food dishes or anything. You want to make sure you're using a food safe 2-part resin for that. Can you use regular glitter? Absolutely. Any type of glitter that you can imagine can be put inside this resin. Yes, you can add seashells. You can add sand to it. Can you tint with resin tints? Yes, we at Michaels you will find resin tints in the same place that you will find all of our products, and you can tint it any color of the rainbow. Are the posts hypoallergenic? No, they are not. They are they're made of iron, but they are not hypoallergenic. Yes, you can use acrylic paint to tint. It is not the best thing because if you add too much of it, you're not going to cure. So we definitely suggest tinting with the UV resin craft tints that are sold at Michaels. Thank you. Thank you, May Williams. I remember you from last week. Tune in next week too. Thank you. Flowers. Can I have one of the flower packages? I just want to show you the kind of flowers. If they don't kick me off here, we're like overtime, but let's see if we can sneak it in. So we sell all different kinds of dried flowers. We put them together in wildflower packs, so you're getting multiple different flowers in one. Here we go. This is an example of one of the flowers in the program. So you get all different kinds of purple flowers. These are lace flowers. This is like a daisy. Also, the flower packs come with greenery. So this is real dried flowers in here. Everyone is going to look a little bit different. But you can see how they're color coordinated to make a beautiful piece. We also sell, these are like baby's breath type dried flowers. Here's another yellow pack. So you can just, your creativity can really take you places with these dried flowers. Someone has commented that they can't find the hoop earrings. If we can just kind of help her out with that. Thank you, Marianne. Thanks, Robin Tittle. Thank you. I am too, May. Wonderful. We love to see people back every week. We're going to keep upping the ante. Every week, we're going to show you tougher projects, building on the skills that you've learned in these intro classes. Thank you, Victoria. Yes, I agree. You need this. Can you show what other molds you carry? Well, we have a ton of different molds. We try to show you an example of a lot of different ones. This is one we didn't show. This has just kind of, I don't know, trendy shapes. So you've got your cat head, an angel wing. This is a unicorn. These little glasses, which are so cute. The stars. We also didn't show you this one, which has a lot of other great basic shapes to it. This is a rose, a heart. This mold is going to be featured in our class that's 2 weeks from today. You can make shaker charms with this mold. If you know what that is, you'll be very excited to craft along with us from this mold. This is another mold we didn't show you here. These are all faceted gem shapes. So again, the facets are really, really strong there. These make beautiful, you can make faux gems, faux druzy pieces with these. Can you use perler beads? Basically any plastic piece you can put inside resin. So yeah, you could fill this whole shape up with perler beads, pour resin on top of it, and it'll look really cool from the front. Here's one of the molds we didn't show you, and we happen to have some pieces that are already cured in it, so I'm going to do a little demolding. So here's the heart when it comes out of. You can see how smooth that is. So that's one piece. And then here's the rose. This one's a little harder to get out because this is a 3D rose. Oh, let me get this out of there. So you can see here, it has a flat back to it. So again, you can take an earring finding, the flat back, glue them together, and you have a pair of custom rose earrings that you can make in any color with any add-ins to it. Is there any substitute for resin? No. I mean, you'll find projects that use hot glue. Those are not what you want to be using to make jewelry to put on your body. Definitely you want to use a high quality UV resin like ours. Will the finding detach from the earring with time? If you put some good, if you reinforce it like I showed you, this finding isn't going anywhere. I'm gonna actually, let's try to break it. So I'm gonna push, and I'm pushing. You can see that it's bending before it's gonna detach from that. So I'd say that that's stuck on there pretty well. Okay. Any other questions out there? Oh, thank you, Jana. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I saw a comment come through really quickly, but it went away. Those earrings, will you be doing more on those next week? Next week, we're doing pins and brooches, these galaxy pins that I showed you. So we don't have any earring projects planned for that class, but we will definitely show you how it works. I mean, the technique is really the same whether you're making a pin or an earring. Do you have molds to make coasters or bookmarks? We do not, but there are plenty of molds out there. These make beautiful coasters because you can drop the letter beads, for example, and spell out a whole phrase in a coaster. Bigger pieces like bangles. The question was, do we need to do layers? Not really, unless your design, if you want to build in layers. So this bangle mold, you know, as you're filling it, let's turn the bangle to this side. As you're filling it, you could do a filled kind of third of the way with one color, the second third with another color, the last third with another color, and create stripes in there if you want to layer. But you don't have to layer to use this. You fill it, you put your fillers in, and you cure it. Since is the jewelry heavy? No, the jewelry is very, very light. I'm gonna show you an earring here, just for some extra inspiration. Look at these. Look at how cute. These came from molds. This little cherry earring. So this leaf shape came from this mold here. And then the circle shape came from this mold right here. We put a little pearl in there, red tint with glitter. This is green tint with glitter, and then just put it all together with head pins and some jump rings. If your jump ring hole gets covered with resin, so let's say you're filling this up and you fill it a little too high so that it kind of goes over the peg that's in there, there is a solution for that, and this is a little hand drill. This is also sold in the program. This is for drilling a hole wherever you want it to go. These pieces do come with one hole, but say I wanted to have 2 holes or 5 holes. This little hand drill just allows you to drill. I'm gonna drill into this heart so you can see. So this heart does not have a hole in it. I can drill down from the top. I just place it and just twist. And it actually works very quickly to make a hole, and then you insert a finding, a screw eye in there. Okay, so that's how you work that problem. Thank you, May. Yep. Can you do photos? Yes, you can. In fact, Jeanette, we have a whole class that's coming up at the end of September that will be dedicated to how to use this resin with paper and photos. So that class will be on Wednesday, September 30th. It is not up on the Michaels website yet, since it's so far out, but do be on the lookout for that, as that is a very common thing that people want to do with this resin, is make photo jewelry or just work it with paper. The resin comes in 2 sizes. This is the, actually the larger size bottle here is 60 milliliters. It comes, I'm going to show you both sizes side by side. This is what you can buy in stores. This is a smaller size. This is 25 milliliters. And then this is 60 milliliters. So this is just shy of an ounce, and this is 2 ounces. The bezel tops, Krista, those are only sold inside the mold. They're not sold separately right now. All right. Well, I think we're good. Thank you so much. If anyone's still hanging out during this question and answer period, thank you for joining, and thank you for staying all the way to the end. Appreciate it. Now go out and make something.